Hi everyone, welcome. FPL Matt Day here. This is the live Game Week 8 Deadline Fantasy Premier League stream. I can't wait for this game week. Obviously, we've had a week off FPL break last week, had some Champions League fantasy in the week, which was great, but it's just not quite the same as FPL. So enjoy tonight's stream. Get your questions in. We're only 3.5 hours away from deadline, so I'm sure there's going to be a lot of questions about wildcards, free hits and transfers. So get everything in the comments for tonight's show. Just before we start, if you could please like the video, give it a comment, subscribe to the channel. If you're new here, go and check out all the social media handles, which are all in the link in the comments on this video. FPL Matt Day on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter. We can get probably, I'd say 20 likes is probably a good one for this one. So if we can get 20 likes, that would be awesome on this video. And then if you can set the notifications on the video so you never miss an episode. So just before we go through this week's fixtures, I'll just give you a quick rundown as to what we're going to go through tonight on this stream. So we're going to start off fixtures. We're going to go through each game. We're going to pick a player on each game and do a little bit of a score prediction. And we'll pick a player that we think is going to be really good for FPL for this game week. We'll then go through some differentials, some captains that I've picked for this week that, you know, if you are on a free hit or you are on a wild card, I think these players can help you get the points this week. And then we'll go through our topic. The topic this week is, should we wild card for game week 8? So that will be the topic at the end. And then we will go through some Q&A. So if you are watching, get your questions in the comments now and we will answer them at the end during the Q&A. But also get your interactions in as the pod goes on. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know your plans for the week, and I'll bring your comments up as the podcast is on. So to start with, I'll just quickly introduce the comments that have come in so far. We've had one from Quinton Dunn. Hey Matt, welcome to the stream, mate. It's good to have you in the comments. And he's also asking, hoping for some Spurs news. Obviously, I've got the Spurs top on tonight. I'm hoping for some Spurs news as well, because I'm actually yet to make my transfers. I've got two ready. And I don't know what I'm going to do. I am waiting for some Spurs news to kind of get a bit of an idea from a couple of Spurs sources close to the club as to who they think is actually going to play this game week. I've had the news about Zinchenko being injured, who's in my team. And that's going to be really costly because it means I am going to have to make a move in defence and probably use both transfers instead of just one this week, which is a bit of a pain. Yeah, but we'll talk a bit more about my team at the end. What I'll do now is I will share my screen and I'll bring up the fixtures for this weekend, and I will go through the fixtures and I'll pick a player from each game to look out for. And just before we go through that, this is a shorter game week. There's only 7 games out of 10. We've got 3 games that obviously have been called off, this week, which is a bit of a pain. It's quite difficult to navigate. There's going to be some teams that are pretty depleted. They've had to now just use their free hit, activate the free hit. You've had to wild card now as well. So, that is a bit of a pain, but a lot of us are in the same boat. Then again, we will talk about wild cards and stuff later on. Let's get these fixtures up. I will share the screen now, and we can start going through this week's games. And we will start off with the first one, which is Aston Villa versus Southampton at Villa Park. So we've got 2 Friday night games in the UK. Both are based in the Midlands. Aston Villa versus Southampton, Nottingham Forest versus Fulham. A couple of really interesting games here. So I'll start with Villa Saints. I think this one's probably going to be quite close. I'll back, I think maybe a 1-1 sort of stalemate. Villa haven't been the best this year. Not quite got themselves into gear. Southampton are quite hot and cold. So I'll go 1-1. And I think my FPL player to watch, initially it was Philip Coutinho. And I had a bit of a feeling for Philip Coutinho in this game because he did so well in this fixture last season. But yeah, I just don't know if he's going to be for me in this one, because I had a little bit more of a look into his minutes, and he's not played too many games. He's coming back from an injury, and that type of thing. So I think I'm going to back Che Adams as my pick in this game from Southampton. Could be worse. A go in the front three if you're not sure who to pick as maybe a third striker. He's been getting the goals this season for Southampton. So Che Adams is going to be my pick from this game. I think it'll be 1-1 between Aston Villa and Southampton. And then we got the Nottingham Forest Fulham game, which is probably a bit more interest to FPL players, especially people on wildcards and free hits, because they've got the likes of Mitrovic, they've got the likes of Andreas Pereira. And then a lot of our teams have also got Nico Williams, because obviously he's so cheap at 4 million. So there's going to be a lot of players played in this game. And it's really going to be really interesting to see how this one pans out, because it is two newly promoted teams, which pretty much means for, say, Forest at home, the crowd on their side, these are the games that they need to take 3 points from. Because if they're not taking points from this game against newly promoted teams at home, what chance do they have in this division, to be honest? So they've got to win this one. I think it's going to be a tough game for them. I'm going to back the 2-1 to Fulham. But I think both teams have got, some really good assets to watch. Obviously, Mitrovic for Fulham. There's Pereira. Willian might come in there at some point for Fulham. And then with Forest, we've got the likes of Morgan Gibbs-White, who I really like. Jesse Lingard, if he plays, potentially. Obviously, Nico Williams and Dean Henderson as well. There's a lot of FPL assets, to look out for in this game. But the one I'll pick is probably going to be the standout option of Mitrovic. I think if you're on a wild card, probably one of the first, second, or third names on the team sheet. You get him straight in for this fixture. So really liking him in that one. And then we go on to the early kickoff on Saturday, which is another Midlands game. Actually, in the Midlands, it's Wolves versus Manchester City. Man City played in Europe in the week, but they have got a pretty sizable squad, a lot of squad depth. But I think it will be a tough game for them. I do think they will concede, but I think they will win the game. I know Wolves don't score many goals and they're low scorers, but they have obviously just bring Diego Costa in. So they have a bit more up front now. But I will back them to score. I do fancy them scoring in this one, but I will back City to win 2-1. And I'll put the player, it's got to be Haaland. I can't really pick anyone else from this game as sort of the man to have. If you're on a wild card and you don't have him at this stage of the season, which most managers do, then you've got to get him in. Haaland is the man for this fixture. A couple of other players that I think look quite good. Phil Foden, I think, could be potentially a good pick. He got a bit of a minute's rest in the week. He come on with about half an hour to go against Dortmund in the Champions League. So I think he's worth keeping an eye on. The likes of Bernardo Silva, Kevin De Bruyne. But yeah, in terms of a standout, it's going to be Haaland. And I think he's probably going to be very highly captained again. I don't think too many players can rival him this weekend. There is players that can rival him, just not too many, especially with there being only 7 games. So that's Wolves versus Man City. I think Man City will win that one by 2-1. So we'll go on to the next one, Newcastle-Bournemouth, which again, it's another one with a lot of people highly invested into Newcastle assets in this one. With the home game, you're seeing double ups in defence and wild cards, even triple ups with the likes of Isaac now at Newcastle, who's looked good early on in his career at Newcastle. So, definitely a lot of FPL potential in this game. I think Newcastle will win this. I don't think they'll keep the clean sheet that everyone's talking about. I think there'll be goals. I think it'll be a very attacking match and end to end. I think Bournemouth will go for it. So I'm going to back a Newcastle win, and I'm going to go 2-1. And I think the man for this one is Isaac. I think, the way he played against Crystal Palace, he had a lot of chances. He missed a couple of sitters. I think he hit the woodwork as well. But he was getting in the positions. Same as when he played in his debut against Liverpool. He scored. He had a disallowed goal. So I think, again, another striker that is really good for this game week at 7 million. But I do think Bournemouth will score. I think if you're on a free hit or a wild card, you get Pope and Trippier in. It's a home game. Trippier's getting points. Pope's getting points. He's getting save points as well, bonus points and everything. But I am going to back a Bournemouth goal. But if I wasn't a wild card or a free hit, I'd still double up on the Newcastle defence for this week, and because they got plenty of good fixtures. So I can definitely see the logic on that one. So then we'll go on to the next game. So that's the only game that's 3:00 in the UK, which is Newcastle and Bournemouth. And then we've got Spurs versus Leicester, which is the late kickoff in the UK. And this is obviously a big one for me, being a Spurs fan. So I'd absolutely love for Spurs to get the win in this. And we're playing against the Leicester side, who, they're not on the best of form. They're quite depleted at the moment. Haven't been themselves. Not getting points. They're getting hammered left, right, and centre, which we obviously saw against Brighton. So I think Spurs will come out and win this one. I'm going to back a 2-0 win. Harry Kane's got this great record against Leicester. 17 goals in 14 Premier League games, which includes 2 hat-tricks. One of them was in his first, I guess you can class it as his first full season, which was Pochettino's first season. He got a hat-trick at the old White Hart Lane. And yeah, he loves playing against Leicester. So I think Kane's the man to have on this. If you're on a free hit or a wild card, probably can't go wrong with Harry Kane. There's obviously been a lot of talk about Son. Is he going to play? Is he not going to play? I was on a stream last night with the FPL Amateurs of Oz, and I did say I don't think Son is going to play on that stream. We're now 24 hours since that stream. I've read a few more forums. I've seen a bit more news. I've seen some training pictures. I'm starting to get a feeling that maybe we will see the Son, Kane, and Kulusevski front three come back now. Similar to what we had when Spurs played Saints on the first day of the season, and similar to what we had when we had that really good run of form at the end of last season. And I think we'll see those three in the front three. Richarlison's been on great form, and I thought he was, nailed on to stay in the lineup. But I think maybe they might just revert back to kind of basics and put that front three in, and then bring Richarlison on. The other idea and the other thing I thought could happen was they could even put Kulusevski on to the right side where Emerson plays, because Conte has said he can play there, and then they might put front three of Richarlison, Son, and Kane, and kind of play all four, which is also a possibility. So there's also that could happen, but I will back Harry Kane as the pick, and I will go 2-0 Spurs. Also had a few people have come in and asked me before about Perisic. I honestly am not sure if he'll play. I think Sessegnon is fit and ready to play on that left-hand side. Not sure if Perisic will switch to that right-hand side, to be honest. But, we'll probably know more in a couple of hours. Paul O'Keefe, he's a really good Spurs source on Twitter. He gets a lot of the lineups right. So keep an eye out for him on Twitter. He said he's going to have something out between 5 and 6 p.m. UK time in terms of his predicted team. So definitely go and check him out. And then we'll go on to the next fixture. Brentford versus Arsenal. Obviously, just got the news that Zinchenko's injured, which will be a big boost for Brentford because he's obviously a new signing for Arsenal. Tony's been on good form for Brentford. Raya's been on good form for Brentford. But then likewise, Martinelli's been on good form for Arsenal. Jesus has looked sharp this season. Odegaard's looked sharp. So this has got the potential to be a really, really good game. Brentford haven't kept a clean sheet yet this season, so you'd expect Arsenal will score. I know Brentford won this game 2-0 last season on the first day of the season as well. It was on the opening day, but I still think Arsenal will edge this one. I think they'll win it maybe 2-0 or 2-1. And I'm going to go with Jesus still as the pick for this one, because I think, he's had that one really big week, which was against Leicester. And he's had a couple of other weeks where he's come so close and he just hasn't been able to quite get the goal. So I think this could be the game week for him. Arsenal didn't play in Europe, which is going to help them. So, I think that is good for Arsenal. I think if they'd had that Thursday night game, I could be talking a little bit different now. But I think without that game, I think Arsenal will go here and get the win. Brentford are a good side. I think if Arsenal want to be serious about getting back in the Champions League, they need to get 3 points in this fixture. So I think Arsenal will win this one by 2-1. So now we'll go on to the Everton-West Ham game, which is on the Sunday. West Ham obviously just played in Europe, so they'll have some tired legs, I think, in this one. I think it's going to be a very cagey, tight affair. Everton don't score many goals. So I'm going to say it's either going to be a 0-0 or maybe a 1-0 to Everton. West Ham squad is quite thin. I'm not sure how they're going to cope from Thursdays to Sundays. And I think my player to pick is going to be Anthony Gordon at 5.5 million. I think if you're not on if you're not on a wild card or a free hit and you don't have much room to move in that midfield, and you just need a cheap asset this week at 5.5 mil, I don't think you can go too wrong with Anthony Gordon in there. So he is my one to watch in that game, and I think it's going to be either a 1-0 or 0-0 in that one. So that is the fixtures. I've obviously gone through it quite quickly this week. There is only 7 games. We've got 3 called off, which was obviously the big game between Chelsea and Liverpool, which we were all looking forward to. But that's called off. That's probably going to be good, for Liverpool to get their injuries back. And also, if you're an owner of Salah, you're an owner of Trent, there's a lot of people selling them this week. And one thing I've said is, if you can keep at least one of them, I think it would be handy, because when you come to game week 9, Liverpool playing at Anfield against Brighton, who don't have a coach right now. They've got Adam Lallana in charge, but obviously Potter's gone to Chelsea. So I think if you've got Salah or Trent, they could potentially be really good options for game week 9, because a lot of people are selling them out of their squad. So, but yeah, they're obviously not playing this week. Man United Leeds isn't on either, which is a big blow to Rashford owners. And then we're also seeing no Crystal Palace, Brighton versus Crystal Palace. So that game was also called off. So a reduced fixture list this week, but that's the fixtures. That's the players to watch that I think are going to be good in each game, and my score predictions. So we will move on now. I'll stop sharing the screen, and it'll just be myself on the screen. And what we'll do now, I'm just going to pull up some differentials and captains that I've picked this week. So I will read them here and let you know who I have gone with. So here we go. I'll tell you what we'll start with. We'll start with some captain's pick, shall we? Let's do the captains first, I think, because everyone always wants to hear the captains. So let's start with the captain. So these are the ones I've gone with for this game week. So I think Haaland, number one captain for me is Haaland. Obviously, he's got the expected ownership's going to be high. He's playing for Man City. They're one of the form teams in the league. You always expect them to win most weeks. So Haaland for me is the number one captain this week. So I don't think you can really look past him. If you've got him, probably going to just captain him. I think we all are. Second captain pick is going to be Harry Kane. The record I spoke about earlier, 17 goals in 14 games against Leicester. It's a ridiculous record. He's going to start for Spurs tomorrow. Did look a bit sluggish in the Champions League, but I do think he plays tomorrow, and I think it's a really good fixture for him. So he's my second captain option for this week. And then my third captain option, it's going to be Gabriel Jesus for Arsenal away at Brentford. I think he's a really good shout this week. Obviously, he's got that one big haul I mentioned in game week 2. So a couple of bits and pieces here and there, but I think this is the game where if Arsenal do score a couple of goals, I think he'll grab one and be involved in the second one as well. So yeah, I think Jesus is probably my third pick as captain this week. So they're my top 3 picks. Not got Kevin De Bruyne on there. I just think if you're going to go Man City, you just go down the Haaland route. I know De Bruyne got 4 goals in this game last year. I remember I captained him that night, and it was brilliant. But I think De Bruyne isn't the one for this week. I think it's all about Haaland in this game. And then my curveball captain for this week is going to be Dejan Kulusevski from Spurs. Gets the game for me. I think. In the Champions League, he come off the bench. He was effective off the bench in the last 2 Champions League games. He looked really good, and I think he gets the start now. If the Man City Spurs game didn't get called off last week, I think Kulusevski would have been in the lineup, and I think he'll be in there this weekend. So he's my curveball captain. Got a really good feeling about him for this one. So that's the captains done. Let's go on to some differentials. So I'll just pull them up now. And then once the differentials are done, I will share my current team, and then I'll move on to the question. We've had a question in the comments that's been sitting there since the start of the stream. So we'll answer that at the end. And then if we don't get any more questions coming in, we will look to wrap up the stream. So I'll go through some differentials now. So let's get those differentials ready for us. Okay. So I'm going to go Phil Foden, 7.5% owned. I think, like I mentioned earlier, I don't think he's a minutes risk this week. I think he'll get the game. He'll get the start. Didn't start in the Champions League, which I know you can't read Pep, but to me, that says he'll play this game. 7.5% owned. So, I pick differentials based on them being under 10% owned. So I think he's a really good pick for this week. So Phil Foden's one. In the early games tonight, or the first game's on, I'm going to go Morgan Gibbs-White, 0.5% owned. He's 5.5 million. Absolute bargain. Real live wire. These are the games I paid the money for him to perform. The games against the teams that are going to be around them this season. So Morgan Gibbs-White, 0.5% owned. And then I've gone with Dominic Solanke, because I do think Bournemouth will score. Solanke got a double-digit score in his last game, and he's 0.5% owned. And he's someone that if you just need that cheaper striker, that cheaper third striker that can just slot in there, put him in. Bournemouth have got good fixtures coming up even after this week. So Dominic Solanke is another one. And then Anthony Gordon at 4.2% with that home game against West Ham. He's got 2 goals in his last 3 games. So I think he is another one to keep an eye out on. So that is my differentials for this week. What I will do, I will quickly bring up my team. I've got a comment that's just come in from Ban Dido. Just to let you know, what I'll do is any questions that come in now. I'm actually about to do the Q&A in about 2 or 3 minutes. So stay on the stream. If you have just tuned in, get your questions in now. Put them all in the comments, and I will go through them in a couple of minutes. I'm just going to quickly share my team for this weekend, what it looks like right now, just so the viewers of the stream can see my team, and then I will answer these questions that we've got that have come in. So I'm just going to quickly share my side. Like I said, I've got 2 free transfers to use this week. Haven't used them yet. I'm just going to probably check for some more team news after my stream and work out what I want to do. So as you can see there, at the moment, I've got there's players in there that aren't playing. So I've got Raya, he's going to play. Cancelo, he's going to play. Alexander Arnold and James will drop to the bench, and Nico Williams will drop in. Zinchenko's now injured, so he can't play. So I'm going to have to find another defender. Probably going to be someone like Kieran Trippier, I think, or potentially Emerson at West Ham because he's cheap. And then I might be able to upgrade someone like Longstaff to Kulusevski. My other idea was to potentially go either Son or Kulusevski to Salah, and then Zinchenko to Kieran Trippier. So then I can keep Alexander Arnold for game week 9 and then bring Salah back in for game week 9 as my captain against Brighton, because I think he will come back firing in that game. As for the rest of my team, Martinelli will play. Ward-Prowse could have some potential against Villa. He's got a good record at Villa Park. He scored there before. I've got Andreas Pereira from Fulham. Again, never know. Could do something in this game away at Forest. Could be an open match. Jesus, I've already said I think he's going to be a good pick for this week. Haaland, I don't think I need to explain too much with him. And then I've got Tony up front there. Been on good form. Never know. Might bang a goal against Arsenal. He is on pens, so there's always a chance there. And then Nico Williams will come into my side. Look, if Fulham don't score, then I get a clean sheet out of Nico Williams. If Fulham do score, I might get something from Andreas. And then if Forest do score, Nico Williams might potentially keep get an assist anyway, because he does get quite far forward and tends to get a few shots on goal as well. Obviously got a assist in his last home game against Bournemouth. I've also got Sean Longstaff on the bench there, who did actually get an assist at Anfield a few weeks ago. So I've got him on my bench. He's someone that I'm a bit skeptical about even just playing. I know, like, if he does start for Newcastle, it's like, all right, I can put someone on the pitch. I've got someone starting, great, but I just get worried about playing him in case he gets a red card, because he just reminds me of the sort of player that I think will get a red card. So, that is my team. That's how I'm looking for this week. Look, I'm not expecting too much. I'm not on a free hit. I'm not on a wild card. So there isn't huge amounts I am expecting from this game week. So from my side anyway. Just before I go into the questions, actually, I will quickly just bring up the topic question this week. So this week's topic is, should you wildcard for game week 8 if you have a wild card? And you know what? I think it is a good time, because we're about the halfway mark between now and the start of the World Cup. So, you can set your team up now for the foreseeable game weeks till the World Cup. Plus, it's a blank game week. Probably got players missing. So it's probably a perfect time to build the wild card. So I'd say about 8 times out of 10, it's probably well worth doing the wild card. That extra sort of doubt, I would say, is because we've got an international break coming up. And if you can save it till after the international break, because we know that you can get injuries on the international break, and we know what happens. If you can save it and you've got enough on the park, and you've got, Haaland on there on your pitch, you've potentially got Harry Kane, you've got a bit of firepower, then you can probably just get away with saving your wild card until after the break. But if you don't have those luxuries, then using the wild card is probably a good option for you. So look, let's bring up these questions. We've had a couple of questions that have come in. If you are watching the stream right now and you've not asked the question, get it into to the comments, and I will do my best to answer it this week. So I did have a first question here that come in from Quinton Dunn. He did ask, Emerson Royale or Kieran Tierney? So this question has obviously been asked on the back of Zinchenko's injury, which is a pain. As you saw on my team, Zinchenko was in my squad. I've had no luck with Zinchenko. I've had 2 injuries out of him. I've had 1 clean sheet from him. I've had 2 injuries. And then the other game against Man United, I didn't even play him. So I've not had the best of luck with Zinchenko, which is a shame. But in terms of who would I play between Emerson and Tierney, I'd probably say Emerson Royale. I think that Conte's come out and said there is tiredness with Emerson Royale right now, but I don't believe he got in the Brazil squad. So he's not going to go away with Brazil. So he's going to get that rest in during the international break. Actually, let me check. I've got the Brazil squad. Funnily enough, I've got it on my phone because I was looking at the Brazil squad the other day, just admiring how good the Brazil squad was. And he hasn't made their squad. So that tells me that he should play this week for Spurs. I think he plays on the right side. Tierney probably will then play for Arsenal. I'd back the home game. So I'd back Royal over Tierney if I was to pick between the two, Quinton. So I think Emerson Royale is the one for this weekend if you are deciding between those two fullbacks. But yeah, good question. And then we've had this question come in here from Ban Dido. He has asked, hi, would you go Perisic and leave no money in the bank, or downgrade, being able to upgrade De Bruyne to Salah with a free transfer in game week 12? That's a good question. And you know what? I would go with, well, this is the thing, right? And if you're still in the stream, have you got Perisic right now in your team? Are you asking this as, should I bring Perisic in, leave no money in the bank, or you've got Perisic in your team now and you're looking at downgrading him to then bring the money in for De Bruyne to Salah? Because look, I would suggest, if you've got Perisic in your team now, keep him, because he might play against Leicester. You'd be kicking yourself if he does. But if you don't have Perisic in your team, and you're looking at what you potentially want him for your team for this game week, I would probably just move elsewhere. I'd look elsewhere, and I would then save that little bit of money in the bank to then bring Salah in game week 12. So you're talking about game week 12 as well, actually. Sorry. So I'm assuming you're going to keep De Bruyne all the way until game week 12, and then bring him in. Sorry, I was getting confused because we're obviously game week 8, and then there's game week 9 coming up. But if you're going to wait all the way that time, yeah, look, I would probably just. I don't think if you don't own Perisic for this weekend, I don't think he's essential. We don't know what Spurs are going to do with the lineup. You could probably just go, if you really want a Spurs defender, just stick Eric Dyer in there. He's going to play. Leicester are really vulnerable from set pieces. Spurs have had some success from set pieces this season, so you could probably just put him in, bank the money, and then when you need Salah back for De Bruyne, you can then do it. So that's what I would do. But if you own Perisic already, you're probably better off just keeping him for now. So I hope that helps you, Bandigo. We actually did just have a comment come in from Nishao, and Nishao has actually just said, Bandido, I'm also in the same scenario. I downgraded Perisic to Gahey. So, look, so that could give you a little bit of an idea as well. There's obviously other people that have done this. I'm also interested to know from both of you, what made you bring in a Palace defender? Was that done prior to this game week? Because obviously they're not playing in this game week. I know they've got good fixtures coming up, so I'm assuming you're just attacking the future fixtures that are good. So yeah, interesting one. But good questions. Keep them coming in as well. If you've just joined the stream, get your questions in to the comments. We are, 3 hours till deadline. I will just quickly check now the exact time for deadline in my time zone. I'm in the Melbourne, Victoria, Australia time zone. 3:30 a.m. for me is the deadline. So yeah, we are 3.5 hours away from deadline. So we're at the business end. Bora TV. Hello, Matt. How are you? Thanks for joining the stream. I'm well. I'm well this week. Obviously, on last week's stream, I wasn't feeling too well. I was a little bit sick, but yeah, I'm well. Thanks, mate. Hope you're good too. Thanks for coming into the stream. If you've got any questions for the game week, mate, get them in. All the best for this game week. I'm looking forward to it. Like I'm happy to have FPL back. Like I'm really excited to have it back. Obviously, Spurs are playing as well, so I'm looking forward to watching us play. But yeah, my team I've got some decisions to make. I've got 2 transfers. I've got 3.5 hours to make it, and I need to also get some sleep once this stream's done. So, yeah, it's going to be a long night for me at the moment. Another one that's come in from Bandigo. So he is on the wild card, and he could go Perisic or go for a Palace defender. If I was on a wild card, I probably wouldn't go Perisic, and I'm purely saying that from the perspective of, like, if I'm bringing up Perisic now on the app on my phone, and like just looking at Perisic, yeah, Leicester, Arsenal, Brighton, Everton, Man United away. There's some good fixtures in there. There's some tough fixtures in there. There's a bit of a mix, but you've also got to throw the Champions League in there as well. I don't think Perisic plays 2 games a week. Sessegnon's always a rotation threat there. I think. I don't think he's an absolute necessity on a wild card. A free hit's a little bit different because it's just for the 1 week. But if you think of more long term, I don't think Perisic is as necessary right now. Spurs Leicester is always an absolute goal fest as well. And then looking at the Palace defenders. So if I bring up the Palace, Crystal Palace defenders now too. Okay. So they've got Chelsea at home. And then after that, they got Leeds home, Leicester away, Wolves home, Everton away, Palace home, West Ham, Forest away, Fulham home, Bournemouth away. But in this run of fixtures, all of those fixtures I named are green fixtures, other than the Chelsea, West Ham, and West Ham games. So it does look good for Palace defenders. Mark Gahey is a good option as well, who you mentioned earlier. Another question's come in here as well from Bandido, Isaac or Tony. Look, I like both. I own Tony. And I was lucky enough to get the hat trick from him recently, which was brilliant. I'll tell you what, I'll share the screen and I'll bring up Tony's fixtures. So I've got Tony on my screen here. Let's have a look at what Tony's got. There you go. So after this Arsenal game, Bournemouth away, Newcastle away. So then that's virtually Isaac versus Tony. Brighton home, Chelsea home, Villa away, Wolves home, Forest away. So there's some good fixtures in there, and obviously Brighton are quite reliant on his goals, and he is a pen taker. So there is that aspect. Let's go to Ivan. That's Ivanton. Let's go to Isaac. Let's and let's check his fixtures in comparison. So I like Tony. I like him, but let's do a quick comparison to Isaac. We can bring Wilson up. Look, Isaac's not there. We'll bring Wilson up because Isaac and Wilson have the same fixtures. So you'll be looking at Bournemouth home this weekend. Good fixture. Same as Tony's fixture next week, being Bournemouth. But obviously, Tony plays them away. Fulham away. Brentford home. United away. Everton home. Spurs away. Villa home. Saints away. I think looking at that, you'd probably have to say, I think Isaac probably edges it with home games against Bournemouth, Brentford, Everton, even Villa, Southampton away. I think Isaac edges it for me. And I really like Tony because I own Tony. But I think Isaac just edges it, especially when St. Maximum comes back in the team. He creates so many chances for forwards. And whilst Wilson's out, I think Isaac is going to score goals. So I'd probably say Isaac edges it for me. But yeah, tricky one. But I think, you would probably, I'd say Isaac just about edges it if I was going to pick between the two. But look, that's this week's stream. Obviously, deadline is in 3 hours and 20 minutes. Can't wait for it. It's going to be. We just had another question come in actually. So before we end the stream, we will bring this question up as well. It's from Bora TV. So he's had 2 free transfers. He's changed Robertson to Trippier. For the next transfer, he's thinking Jesus to Isaac, or shall I just buy Mitrovic? Thinking Isaac to Mitrovic at game week 11 is a no-brainer. Thoughts? Look, obviously we just had the question of Isaac versus Tony, and it was who do I think was better? And I said I thought Isaac edged it for me because I'm liking the fact that St. Max will come back into the team. I like Newcastle's fixtures. But if I was to pick between the 3, I think Mitrovic is the better pick right now. Would I buy Mitrovic this week, though, over Jesus? I'd actually give Jesus one more week. I still think it's worth giving him this Brentford game. I think he's hungry for a goal. We saw it in the game at Old Trafford. Jesus, he made the run forward. He was about to finish, but the tackle was made, and then Saka, put the rebound in. So I actually think give Jesus one more week, especially because he's getting a lot of sales. And then if you can keep an extra transfer up your sleeve, save that second free transfer if you've got enough players on the pitch, and wait till game week 9 because we're going to come off an international break. And I think if you're coming off an international break with 2 transfers, you're going to be in such a good position because you've got to think as well at that point, so many wild cards are going to be burnt and gone. And you having 2 transfers, you're going to be ahead of the 8 ball for that game week. On the flip side, obviously Mitrovic could end up with a really good week against Forest, and then you missed out on some points. But I think Jesus can cover Mitrovic this weekend. I think if you've got Jesus for this week, I still think it's worth giving him that week, especially when you got 2 transfers and saving that additional transfer. But like I always say, go with your gut. But that's probably how I would play it. But great question, and thanks again for tuning in, Bora TV. If any other questions have come in, anyone that's just come into the stream, as I can see a few watchers have just come in. So if anyone's coming to the stream now and wants to ask a question for game week 6, get it into the comments now. Had another one from Quinton Dunn. Best fullback option outside of Newcastle and City. For this game week, I think the Emerson Royale option or Ryan Sessegnon is a good option. Again, you're probably playing with a bit of fire because we don't 100% know what Conte is going to do. But yeah, I think a Spurs fullback is a good option for this game week. Outside of that, like from these fixtures, there's not much else, is there really? Like, you're not going to really go to a Digne. Probably not going to go to Kyle Walker-Peters. If you've got Nico Williams, I'd suggest maybe even just playing him. But yeah, if you're making a long-term move, it is a really, really tricky one for this game week. You could even just go cheap and put Patterson in from Everton. You get this West Ham game out of him. You get the Southampton game out of him. And then you've got a 4 million enabler on your bench that you can just keep there long term. But yeah, look, if you are on a free hit, I'd probably just go for it and pick a Spurs fullback that you think will play. And for me, I think it will be Emerson Royale and Ryan Sessegnon. But yeah, good question, Q. So thanks for that. And no worries, Bora TV. Thank you for tuning in. Great question before as well. Another question from Quinton. Haaland, Mitrovic, Jesus. Who do you like for captain? I like them all as captains. But yeah, Haaland is obviously the standout. We've spoke about it. So Quinton comes on my pod quite regularly. I go onto his pod as well, and we both missed out on Haaland hat tricks earlier on in the season, and we knew how awful that felt as a non-owner. So I would say if everyone's captaining Haaland this week, which the majority are going to, I'd probably say Haaland is the captain bet for this weekend. PSB has joined the stream. Hi, Matty. How are you doing? I'm good, thanks, mate. Great to have you on the stream. If you don't follow PSB, go check him out on Twitter. He does some really good captain threads. I think it was 75th or top 75 captain picks in the world last season, which is incredible. And he does some really good captain threads. But I'm good, mate. I've got 2 free transfers for this week. We're obviously only a few hours away till deadline now. So I've got a big decision to make once this stream is finished about who I'm going to bring in. So, my eyes are all on Spurs team news because I'm looking at, Kulusevski or a Son. I would love Kane, but there's not anyone in kind of my front 3 that I want to get rid of for Kane, even though I, deep down know Kane is the best pick from Spurs this weekend, with his record against Leicester. But yeah, great to have you on the stream, mate. And then another question from Bora TV. Best Gundogan replacement or just play him? Good question. Let's go back to, I'm just going to check. So I'm just going to have a quick look now. I'm just going to have a quick look. So Man City versus Dortmund in the week. Gundogan played 58 minutes then, didn't he? And he got subbed off for Bernardo Silva. And that's the thing. This is where you're always leaving yourself second guessing Pep because in your head you're thinking, he played 58 minutes. Was that because they wanted to change the game? Or was that because they thought, look, let's get him off, keep Gundogan for Wolves? So it's always a tough one. You know what? For this game week, I think just play him. But don't be too disheartened if Pep does bench him. Because I just feel, I think he actually will start. I think they'll play him in this game because he's not going away on any international duty or anything like that. So, I would just play him. But yeah, if you are going to replace him, if you've got enough money for Kulusevski, if you've got 0.6 spare, or you have got 2 transfers, or you said you've used 1, haven't you? So you've got 1 more. Otherwise I would probably, I'd probably still just keep him for this game week, mate. Just another couple of comments that come in. Welcome to the stream, mate. It's great to have you on. Always coming into the streams, asking some great question. And yeah, I saw that you did post a tweet on Twitter earlier. You just wanted some help with your side. No worries at all. And I do know this. So obviously at the start of the stream, I did tell everyone to turn the notification bell on so you don't miss any of these streams. But it is currently off. I've been informed. I have actually had to contact YouTube to find out what's going on, because I actually don't know what's going on. I've tried to fix it. I've gone into the settings. I've done absolutely everything to try and change it. It says that the channel was not made for kids or made for kids. And I've tried to change it and it just isn't working, mate. So apologies. The notifications are not on at the moment, which is a pain. I'm trying to get it fixed. Hopefully it's fixed by next week, or at least before the end of this season. But in terms of sort of a schedule that's coming up for the weekend, there'll be a watch along on Sunday. I'm looking to do a watch along between Arsenal and Brentford. Won't be able to do one for the Man City Wolves game, but I'm looking to do one for Arsenal versus Brentford. So if you come onto this channel at kickoff time for Arsenal Brentford, I will be on here doing a watch along with a couple of other guests on here. And then there probably won't be too many streams during the international break, but I'll be back for FPL the following week, and obviously the UCL, which has been mentioned in here, asking me how my UCL fantasy team did. It did okay. I think I ended up on about 79 points or 74 points, which was okay. That my rank was okay. I think I'm sitting about 200k. So I haven't started as well in UCL as I did last season. Obviously, last season had a really good year, and it's not been the best start for me this year. But yeah, we'll still be doing the streams and doing the pods and enjoying the game anyway. But look, if we don't have any more questions that come into the stream, and if no one's got any more FPL questions to quickly ask, we will leave the stream at that. So if you've got any questions, I'll just give it another 10 seconds to see if anyone has any more. We've got one more from Bora TV, so let's take this one. Share my views on the psychology of points chasing, how not to fall in this trap, self-reflect. You know what? This is actually a really good question. And I've always been, I remember like years ago in FPL, I would just always think about points chasing. How can I just do a different differential captain or pick different players just to chase points and points and points? But I was always doing that because I was trying to chase points based on my mini leagues with friends. So if someone in a mini league was 50 or 60 points above me, I would be like, right, who can I captain this week that they're not? Or who can they pick that I pick that they don't have to get those points back? And then as time went on and I kept playing more FPL and got more experience with FPL, I started to think, actually, don't worry about what people are doing in mini leagues. Focus on my overall ranking. And if my overall ranking is good, then I won't need to worry about the mini leagues with my mates. I've just got to do what I'm doing in the overall leagues. So in terms of psychology of points chasing and not falling into this trap, I would just say play your game. Don't worry about anyone else right now. You don't need to points chase in game week 8. Like, there's so long to go, right? So we've got 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 game weeks until the mid-season with the World Cup. After the World Cup, we've then got unlimited transfers. So we're not even at the halfway point of the season. Think about it. We're 8 game weeks in, and look how much has changed already. You know, we've had people like Salah and Son yet to score goals, like score goals on the level of last season. They can come in. If you can get your timing right and time it well, they could come in and get loads of points, loads of goals again soon, shake things up. We're going to have double game weeks, loads of double game weeks coming up in the second half of the season. You know, injuries, things like that will come into play. You know, January transfer window, chips to be played, triple captains to be played, second wild card, bench boost. You've got so much to play for, to the point that, you know, I think it's just about stay patient, play your own game. Don't think about it right now. So I'd say it's a case like to not fall in the trap. It's just to shut out the noise from everyone else and just focus on your game and enjoy it as well. If you can enjoy it early on and just tell yourself it's early on in the season, don't worry about you know, about my points, where my friends are in mini leagues, how far I'm off them, or how far I'm off, an overall rank that might be your target, because it's game week 8. Look, if it's 5 or 6 game weeks to go, it's different. You think, look, let's go for it. Let's try something different. If I drop a million places from these decisions, you just live by those decisions, but at the same time, you might gain from it. So yeah, look, I would say don't fall into the trap by just enjoying the game, playing your own game, and remember, it's early in the season, and you will be absolutely fine, mate. So don't stress at all. And it's not all about rank as well. I think, a big thing about FPL, and that's why I like doing these videos, I like doing stuff on Twitter, Instagram, and everywhere else, is it's all about fun. You just share your passion for the game, for football, and like, if you have a high rank, brilliant. If you don't, you can still enjoy the game, even by just making a good pick, or picking a differential and just having fun with the game. This is a really good comment from PSB. So this is a good one for you, Bora. Bora TV, patience is key. If you've taken a good decision, back yourself. The returns will come. Punts here and there are fine, but being patient is the key. So there you go. Patience is the key. So 100% agree. Great stuff. Alexander Barone, thanks for joining the stream. Captain Kane or Haaland? Look, traditionally, I am a Spurs fan, so traditionally I would say Captain Kane, right? Leicester record, 17 goals in 14 games. I wouldn't even bat an eyelid. I'd say you're Captain Kane against Leicester. But this is Haaland. He's finishing everything on a plate. His ownership's extremely high. If he was to score 2 goals against Wolves, and Kane was to blank, or Kane was just to get 6 points, 12 as captain, Haaland got, 26 points as captain, or even a hat-trick, you're just falling behind again. So I'd say, I still think Kane can outscore Haaland this week, but I'd probably just say early days, keep it safe on Haaland, because I didn't do Haaland in those game weeks where he got the hat-tricks, which was silly of me. I was back in De Bruyne, and yeah, it come back to bite me. So I would say stay safe for now, for Haaland, and do it on him. And here's a good comment from Trons Frami. My FPL overall rank is 3.5 mil. I'm not too worried. I have all the chips left. So there you go. That's what I mean. You got chips left. It's early on. You don't need to worry just yet. And Bora has come back and has just said, thanks so much. So yeah, it was a great question. And thanks very much for the comment. I hope my stream grows. Much love. Yeah, look, it's hoping that obviously we can start to get some more views and more interactions each week. But it's great, we're 8 game weeks into the season, and I've already got so many people coming back to the stream, asking questions, and bringing so much insight to FPL. So I absolutely love it. So thanks so much. I appreciate all the support from everyone. If you can like this video, for those that don't subscribe, that are new and have just joined tonight, if you can subscribe, that's awesome. But liking the video and commenting on the stream like you do, it's absolutely awesome. I really appreciate it. And thanks, Alex. No problem at all. It was great for you to come into the stream and ask the question. So look, we are 6 minutes away from exactly 3 hours till deadline. I'll have to go now. It's been a really good stream. We've done nearly an hour. We're getting up to about 55 minutes of FPL. It's been a great stream. Good luck, everyone, for game week 8. If you're on a wild card, if you're on a free hit, or if you're like me and you've just got a couple of transfers and you're not really sure what you're going to do with them, then best of luck, everyone. Hope you have a good game week. If you don't follow me on Twitter, FPL Matt Day, I've got a thread on there at the moment. All the differentials I discussed tonight, captains, they're all on there in the thread. Feel free to post your team on there, share it with everyone, post your transfers, post your thoughts on the players I've picked, and just enjoy chatting FPL for the week, or even just football in general. So everyone, good luck for the game week. It's been great to have you all on. Thanks for tuning in. And I will see you in the next one, which is likely going to be a watch along on Sunday for the Brentford versus Arsenal game. So thanks again, everyone, and I will see you in the next one.